Hey Caleb, time to shoot.
So Ola Electric is back on top. Welcome to Backstage with Millionaires. I'm Caleb, your host, and this is kind of a surprising turn of events where Ola Electric is now outperforming competitors like Okinawa and also Hero Electric. So what's happened here is that for the month of October, Ola actually sold the most number of EV scooters in all of India, which definitely reminds me of when Ola Electric first launched their S1 and S1 Pro scooters back in 2021. And these scooters, of course, quickly became the most appealing electric scooter for people to buy in the country. They were priced cheaper than other electric scooters, and they also had some exciting features that made them a great choice for many first-time buyers. And so, of course, for the first couple of months, Ola Electric was having a great run. They were selling the most electric scooters, and they were also constantly in the news for all the right reasons, but then things started to take a turn for the worse. This started with delayed deliveries, but then it expanded into faulty features. One scooter actually caught fire in Pune, and then another owner actually set his scooter on fire because he was so frustrated with the company. This, of course, created a lot of negative PR for the company, and people started looking at other companies instead, companies like Hero Electric, Aether Energy, and Okinawa for their electric scooters as an alternative to the S1 and S1 Pro. But then Ola Electric made a great decision last month during the festive season, which seemed to have worked tremendously in the company's favor. They launched a more affordable version of their Ola S1 Pro scooter in August. That's the Ola S1 Air. And for one day only, for 24 hours, it was priced at 79,999 rupees. So the company definitely leaned into that FOMO effect. What ended up happening is that a lot of people had already seen family members and friends driving their Ola electric scooters around across the country. This was something that had been happening for the last couple of months, and people started to feel jealous. So that FOMO was already starting to take place. And then, of course, they launched the S1 Air, and it was at a cheap price for 24 hours. And so everybody piled onto this deal, which meant that Ola Electric sold its highest number of scooters in a month till date. A total of 16,129 scooters were sold in October, over 63% more than what it had sold in September, where the figures were 9,875 scooters. But it's not just Ola Electric here. The entire Indian EV two-wheeler space is actually growing pretty quickly. The month of October saw a 40% increase in total two-wheeler EV registration in India, which is really exciting to see. All right, next up, let's move into our bird's eye segment now, because at least 13 Indian startups have raised more than $1 million this week, with the total coming in at $438 million. And this is actually a pretty good week for Indian startups because it's 43% higher compared to last week's fundraise of $305 million. So SaaS startups led the charge this week. They raised 52% of all the funds. That's $229 million. And the leaders here were SaaS unicorn Icertis. They're based in Pune and Washington, and they raised $150 million. And then we also have Bengaluru-based Amagi, which is a media-focused SaaS startup, and they raised $79 million. Then we have one startup in the fashion space, Virgo, and they raised 23% of all the funds. That's $100 million. And Virgo is a Bengaluru-based startup on a mission to build the world's most trendy fashion brand. Then we have clean tech startups raising 8% of all the funds. That's $37 million. And the leaders here were Gurugram-based Hygenco, which is focused on hydrogen-based energy. They raised $25 million. And then we also have Mumbai-based Solar Square, which is one of the leading rooftop solar installers, and they raised $12 million. And then finally, we have fintech startups raising 5% of all the funds. That's $20 million. And the leaders here were Cashkaro, which is a Gurugram-based cashback and coupons platform, and they raised $15 million. And then we also have Bengaluru-based Decentro, which is an API-based banking platform, and they raised $4.7 million. All right, next up, I was recently reading about BYJU'S and the entire controversy around them delaying the announcement of their financials. And one of the things that I realized here, one of the key issues, was revenue recognition. And so what ended up happening was that the accounting firm in this case was having trouble in calculating their actual revenue. And this is a major problem that a lot of companies face. They just don't know how to distribute their revenue over time. And so to help you understand this concept, I want to guide you to this video by Jungle Ventures, who are also the sponsors of today's video. And here's a small clip from that video.
You know, it's amazing in how many startups we don't even get a very simple concept of revenue recognition right. Let me give you a very simple example. Suppose I'm an e-commerce platform and a customer orders a pair of jeans on my platform, and that particular pair of jeans get delivered in 4 days. So do I recognize my revenue on the day the order was placed, or do I recognize the revenue on my book of accounts the day the order was delivered?
So if you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch the full video, you can find a link to it in the description down below. And while you're over there on Jungle Ventures YouTube channel, make sure to hit subscribe as well, because they're constantly posting amazing videos that are really useful for anybody who's interested in startups, entrepreneurship, or the world of venture capital. All right, next up, just a couple of quick updates for you guys now. First of all, BYJU'S is planning a $1 billion IPO for Aakash, and it's going to be happening in India. So Aakash is an offline coaching chain that BYJU'S acquired last year in 2021, and BYJU'S themselves actually have their own plans to go public as well in the United States. But of course, these plans have been delayed due to unfavorable market conditions, and so now they're looking at Aakash. According to one source that was quoted by Money Control, Aakash is profitable and is a strong brand that is better understood in India. Investors were of the view that it should be listed here. So BYJU'S paid around $1 billion for this acquisition last year in 2021, although they didn't complete that payment fully until very recently. And then since then, that company, Aakash, has grown by more than 100%. And so after this IPO, Aakash could be valued anywhere between $3.5 and $4 billion. All right, next up in the news, more layoffs. Unfortunately, Chennai-based SaaS unicorn Chargebee is laying off 10% of their workforce. This equates to about 140 employees, and the company's co-founder and CEO, Krish Subramanian, announced it on LinkedIn. In his own words, he said that this difficult decision was driven by external market forces, as well as our need to address the operational debt that we've accumulated in the last few years. The company is going to be paying affected employees 3 months of pay and medical benefits, and also a time extension for employees with company shares, allowing them to exercise their stock options. All right, that is all the startup news that I have for you guys this week. I really hope you enjoyed the video and that you learned a lot from it. Big thanks now to all of our Backstage with Millionaires members, our unicorns, our decacorns, and our hectacorns. And also big thanks to you for watching this video through to the end. All right, I will see you guys in the next one.